So I'm back again. I'll just wait for a couple of seconds for this to let people know that I'm live. Services Australia and India need to get their act together. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. What's going on? Wait a second. Excuse me while I blow my nose, because otherwise I'll be sniffling all the way through this. Okay, so. Oh dear. Excuse me. Oh, I have damage to the mucosal lining in my nose. That's why I sniffle. So, okay, let's get started here. So last week you would have seen the live that Sophie from Victoria put up, where they weren't letting her pay her rent. Anyway, so today she's been on the phone because she's in the middle of moving house. And she's in a situation where she's moving into a family home, a property that's owned by family, that's been all properly sent up to rent. It belongs to her grandmother, who is now really stressed about how she's going to pay her mortgage because Indu and Services Australia won't let her pay the rent. Now, she's been trying. She's been on the phone since 10:37 a.m. this morning, and then gets cut off at 1:25, right, in the afternoon. Now, she's still on the phone now. She's still on hold, like listening to the hold music, right? But this is just not good enough. This is not good enough, right? So, she's supposed to be moving house today. She's a single mum with a 10-month-old baby, right? And they still won't help her. You know, she's trying to set it up. So, she was on a 55-minute wait just to speak to somebody this morning, right? And the person didn't know what the Cash's card was or what housing limits were. Told me to ring Indu. Services Australia that control this, who already told her, Indu told her to ring Services Australia. Services Australia tell you to ring Indu. Right? These are her words in my message box. I'm still begging to pay my rent. My allowance is still set at 0, despite uploading a new lease about a week ago, right? And she's also not getting rent assistance, which she should be, but they're not doing that either. She can't pay her bond or the first month's rent, right? Either. In Victoria, they pay monthly rent. So therefore, you'd be paying your bond and your first month's rent in advance. Whereas everywhere else, we pay fortnightly, we pay 2 weeks in advance. But they're not letting her do that. Plus, they're not letting her pay the $238 in arrears that she has on the other unit that she's just moved out on, because they wouldn't let her transfer the money last fortnight to wrap that one up, right? So she's got to try and dig in to use her cash portion to try and fix that up. This is causing friction now within her own family because her grandmother's worried that they're not going to get the mortgage payments repaid on the house. You know, Sophie, get your grandma to ring Indu and Services Australia and put it in writing. Right? Make a formal complaint in writing. You know, this is just getting beyond ridiculous. She's trying to move house. And she's been on the phone since 20 to 11 this morning. And she's still on hold trying to sort this out. This has been going on for weeks. You know? I mean, she got hung up on when Services Australia were trying to transfer her back to Indu. Indu aren't the ones that are in control of this. Services Australia is. And Ruston, what's going on? Again, another single mum with a little 10-month-old baby, right? Here we go, more government-sanctioned financial abuse. All right. Now, this isn't good enough, right? She's made comment in here this morning. I had Mahalia in pieces, the mental stress you're putting under these families, and you bleating on about safety for women, but you're making them bloody homeless. You know, It's messing with her. You know, Sophie's saying to me, it's messing with her head so bad, you know, because it's causing problems. And she hasn't even finished moving in yet. You know, it's just ridiculous. And her baby's too small for her to go back to work. Plus, she wants to be able to raise her own child, not be working for wages to pay for childcare and be in poverty there as well. You know, this is just not good enough. This is maladministration, right? I'm getting to think that this is deliberate now, because I've got Mahalia in WA desperately trying to do the right thing and upload paperwork, then be told, no, that's not the right one. Do this, do that, do this, jump through this hoop. And she's trying her hardest and not getting anywhere, and she's 3 weeks behind in rent, right? And then I've got Sophie in Victoria, who's not allowed to pay her bond, not allowed to pay her rent in advance, not allowed to pay up the arrears from the other place. She only got the arrears from the other place because Indu wouldn't let her pay, or Services Australia wouldn't let her pay the rent last fortnight for the gap period in the, moving in between. There was an 11-day gap period and she needed to pay that money up. They're not letting her pay it. So they're keeping her in debt, right? That gives her a bad credit and a bad rental history at the previous place. And now they're jeopardising her grandmother's mortgage. How is this financially responsible? How is this a literacy tool, a financial literacy tool? It's not. It's how many people can we bankrupt in one day? How many people can we put on the streets? Because it's becoming so obvious, right? That ding is Sophie letting me know she's still on hold. It is 2:03 in the afternoon. She's been at this since 10:37 a.m. It is not being resolved. She's still on hold. This is not good enough. Services Australia and Ruston, this is not good enough, right? This lady's trying to pack a house and move today, right now. Instead, she's on hold. She needs that money transferred today, right? No more mucking around. She needs her rent allowance lifted to the amount of rent, and she needs access to that bond. She's got the money in the account for the bond. She's got the money in the account for to rent in advance. She needs that money transferred today so she can pay it. She's already sent all of the lease documentation in, right? She should also be entitled to rent assistance. Why isn't her rent assistance being sorted out? This is ridiculous, right? Done all the paperwork for you last week, so there's plenty of time for it to be approved. Why is it not being approved? Why is her rent allowance still set at 0? Why can't she pay the bond? Why can't she pay the rent in advance? And why can't she pay that previous landlord the $238? Why? Because if she wasn't on the card, she wouldn't be having any of this shit. She would have paid that landlord, the previous one, when the money was due. No problems. She would have paid her bond and her rent in advance last week when she did all the rent, when she signed the lease and did all the rental stuff. But no. She's on Indu cashless debit card. She's not allowed to do any of that. And you're going to keep her money. And from what she said to me in the video last fortnight, she's got $7,000 in her account. You're going to keep that money. And you're not letting her use it to move house. You've not let her access it to pay for moving house. This is a single mum with a 10-month-old baby. You are purposely putting these people and these children at risk of being homeless. And we're coming into winter. Right? I can tell you now, I'm in Queensland, starting to get a bit cool here now. Right? But I can tell you now, it's bloody freezing in Melbourne. This is not good enough. This is government-sanctioned financial abuse. I don't care what anybody says now. This is abuse. Right? And Ruston, you can go all over the social media going, oh, women's safety. Right? Women's safety, my ass. You're pushing parents back into situations they don't want to go into. You've got women thinking about, do I have to go and hook up with a man just to be safe, no matter what, and going back down that road again when they don't want to. Right? Nikki says here, of course, the church and the community will come to the rescue because that's what Morrison expects us to be doing like they did in the 19th century, right? You know, go begging to the church. I'm sorry, but the church isn't going to pay her bond or her month's rent in advance, or give her the $238 she needs to pay the previous landlord, or cover any extra costs for moving, let alone help her move, right? This is disgusting. Why is that money not being released? Where is it being held? Why can't she access it? It's supposed to be her money. Yes, we know Indu owns the money now. Only because this government has given away the social security money. That's funny. They're giving away all of our other money too to the mining billionaires. $19,000 a minute is going to mining millionaires and billionaires. And Twiggy Forrest and Gina Reinhardt, they're getting $19,000 a minute. Meanwhile, I've got people here who can't pay rent. I've just got off the phone from another man who's in air in a tent with spinal injuries. Well done. After talking to him for the whole period of the time that he was on the cashless debit card, he still is on the card. He's never had a rental allowance, right? Technically, he's never been able to pay rent. Not officially. He's had to find workarounds. Now he's in a caravan park living in a frigging tent. Right? This is rubbish. Cynthia, the account is not hers. The account was set up in her name without her consent, right? The account was set up by Services Australia and Indu without her consent, like all of the other people that are already on the cashless debit card, right? It's not her account. She did not consent to opening that account. She did not ring Indu and open it by her own means, right? But this is putting mental health at risk here. I've got two women beside themselves in two different parts of the country today who can't pay their bloody rents, that have got children. You know? Current affairs won't do it. They did once before for Jodie, but then they cut out the most important bits again. This is ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. Share this everywhere. This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable at all. How many more people are going to become destitute and homeless and have bad credit? Right? You know, this is still on hold. This is just ridiculous. 34 minutes on hold so far from the second call after the first one was cut off. Okay, she's now being told she's not allowed to set up Centre to a private landlord. Is that correct? No. You can pay. So now here comes the lies and the bullshit. She's being told she can't set up Centre to a private landlord. That is not true. You know, this is crap. So now she's being told fibs. Because I know that her grandmother was going to go out being the landlord and set up Centre so that she could pay her rent Centre. So there'd be no worries with her grandmother getting her rent properly and then being able to pay her mortgage properly. But they're saying she's not allowed to. They're not allowed to do that. Hang on a minute. So how many people out there right now are paying Centre, right? The majority of private rental people don't set up Centre, but a lot do. You know what I mean? If your landlord takes Centre, right? Crystal Bell, help. All right, I'm going to start making some official complaints myself here. I'm going to start ringing senators. I want you guys to ring senators as well. She's being lied to, right? We have people. I'm just in text with her, okay? I'm sorry, but that's an absolute lie. So they don't want parents paying by Centre now, so they're going to lie about it, are they? So hang on. They're trying to get her to set it up online, yet gives her no options for private deduction. I'm on hold again since I just insisted. Someone told me I could use Centrepay, which was me, you know. Oh, this is crap. You're getting this as I'm getting it now. Every time you hear ding, that's Sophie in my inbox. So they're trying to say she can't use Centrepay. They're trying to tell us she can't use Centrepay to set up her rent. Right? Not good enough. Not good enough. Right. You guys know what's going on. I know what's going on. I'm getting off the phone. I'm going to ring some senators. This lady needs help. Right? This is not good enough. I'm sorry. But she can't put her phone down because she's on hold. But they're lying to her. She can use Centrepay. So I don't understand. If her grandmother set up Centrepay, right, she can use Centrepay like any other person can. Oh, let me guess. They're going to hold it against her because it's her grandmother's house. It's all set up legitimately as a rental, as a private rental, like any other private rental. Not good enough. Yeah. I'll talk to you guys later. I'll probably come back and do another live. This is stressing me out as much as it's stressing her out. As I said, this is the third person today I've helped with that could not pay rent. And the other person is a man. And his situation, he's been fairly fortunate that one rental that he was in, another person who was on the card in the house, he was able to do Indu to Indu transfer to pay his share of the rent. Right? But if he couldn't have done that, then he would have ended up homeless a long time before he is now. You know what I mean? But he's still technically homeless, living in a tent. Oh, this is just beyond stupid. This is just getting crazy. This is called, let's dick these people around as much as possible. Paul Mahalio has been on the phone for 4 weeks trying to sort out her rent, bouncing between the two. Now they're doing the same to Sophie. Not on. It shows this is deliberate. Right? And they can't stop her from paying her rent through Centrepay if the landlord accepts Centrepay. Bottom line. Or they're going to close down Centrepay. Wouldn't surprise me. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. See ya.